My name is Emma Rodriguez. I'm 30 years old. 5 months ago, I sat in a transplant coordinator's office at Denver General Hospital while my parents and my older sister Ashley sat across from me. Ashley had end-stage liver disease and needed a transplant. The coordinator had just explained that I was a compatible match and could donate a portion of my liver to save her life. My parents immediately jumped in. "Of course Emma will donate. She's Ashley's sister. Family helps family." I was still processing the medical information, the risks, the recovery time, the lifelong implications. "I need time to think about this." "Think about what?" My father's voice was sharp. "Your sister is dying. You're a match. What is there to think about?" "This is major surgery with serious risks." "Ashley's risk is death," my mother said. "You're being selfish." The transplant coordinator, Dr. Sarah Chen, interrupted. "Ms. Rodriguez has the right to make an informed decision about organ donation. This isn't something to rush." My father glared at her. "My daughter is dying. We don't have time for Emma to be selfish." I said I needed a week to consider. My parents called me selfish, heartless, cruel. They told extended family I was letting Ashley die. They organized a family intervention where 20 relatives pressured me to donate. I was scheduled for additional medical testing to confirm compatibility when Dr. Chen called me privately. "Emma, I need to discuss something that came up during our records review. Did your parents get tested as potential donors?" I assumed they had. Ashley's been sick for 2 years. "According to our records, neither of your parents has ever been tested for liver donation compatibility. They've never even filled out the preliminary screening forms." My blood went cold. "They've been calling me selfish for hesitating to donate my liver, but they never even got tested themselves?" "Correct, and there's more. Your sister also has a half-brother from your father's first marriage, Michael Rodriguez, age 34. He's also never been tested. Your parents only pursued you as a donor." But what my parents didn't know was that Dr. Chen was legally obligated to ensure organ donations were made without coercion, and she'd been documenting every instance of family pressure since the first consultation. She'd also discovered that my parents had medical conditions that would have likely disqualified them as donors, conditions they'd hidden from Ashley while publicly shaming me for refusing to help family. Before I tell you what happened when Dr. Chen presented the ethics committee findings about my parents' coercive behavior and revealed they'd never even attempted to donate themselves, please like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy this story. Drop a comment. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? I love connecting with all of you. Now, let me take you back to where my parents' differential treatment of Ashley and me really began. Growing up in Denver, I learned early that Ashley's needs were family emergencies, requiring everyone's sacrifice, while my needs were my own responsibility. My family: Dad, a sales manager making about $95,000 annually. Mom, who worked in retail making $42,000. My older sister Ashley, 3 years older, who'd always been treated as more delicate and deserving of protection. And me, the younger daughter, the strong one, the one expected to sacrifice for Ashley. Ashley got protected. I got expected to sacrifice. When I was 12 and Ashley was 15, she got mono and missed 6 weeks of school. My parents hired a tutor for $2,000 to help her catch up. That same year, I fractured my wrist playing soccer. I needed physical therapy, 12 sessions at $80 each, not covered by insurance. "We can't afford both the tutor and your physical therapy," Dad said. "Ashley's academics are critical for her college applications. Your wrist will heal on its own." My wrist healed poorly. I still have limited mobility in it. Ashley got her tutor. At 16, I got my first job. I saved everything for college. Ashley didn't work. My parents said she was too sensitive for the stress of employment. When college application time came, Ashley wanted to go to a private liberal arts school costing $55,000 annually. My parents took out loans to send her. I got accepted to University of Colorado with partial scholarship. I needed about $12,000 annually to cover remaining costs. We're tapped out from Ashley's loans, Mom said. You'll need to take out your own loans or find more scholarship money. I worked full-time summers, part-time during school, and graduated with $35,000 in student loans. Ashley graduated with $220,000 in loans, all co-signed by our parents, all their financial responsibility. Different children, different standards. At 24, Ashley moved back home after graduation. She couldn't find work in her field, art history. She lived rent-free with our parents for 3 years while finding herself. I'd moved out at 22, worked in healthcare administration, and lived independently. At 27, Ashley developed liver problems. The doctors initially thought it was alcohol-related. She'd been drinking heavily for years. But testing revealed she had a genetic condition called Wilson's disease that caused copper buildup in her liver. The diagnosis was serious. She'd need lifetime treatment and monitoring, possibly a transplant someday. My parents immediately rallied around her. They paid her medical bills, drove her to appointments, researched treatments. Ashley moved back home, temporarily, for recovery support. She never left. At 30 years old, she was still living with our parents rent-free. I visited occasionally. I was sympathetic to Ashley's health struggles, but maintaining boundaries about my own life and finances. Then, 2 years ago, Ashley's condition deteriorated. Her liver was failing. She was placed on the transplant list, but the wait for a deceased donor liver could be years. Her doctors recommended finding a living donor. Family members are usually the best matches, her hepatologist explained to all of us. Parents, siblings, sometimes extended family. My parents immediately looked at me. Not at each other, at me. Emma's young and healthy, Dad said. She'd be a perfect donor. Wait, I said. Shouldn't we all get tested? Parents can donate too. And doesn't Ashley have a half-brother? Michael from Dad's first marriage? Michael lives across the country, Dad dismissed. And your mother and I are too old to be donors. You're 58 and 56. That's not too old. The age limit for donation is usually 60. We have health conditions that would disqualify us, Mom said vaguely. What conditions? That's not important. What's important is that you get tested to see if you're a match. I got tested. I was a match. Excellent compatibility, healthy liver function, ideal candidate. The transplant coordinator scheduled a consultation to discuss the donation process, risks, and recovery. That's when my parents started the pressure campaign. You have to donate, Mom said firmly. Ashley's your sister. This is what family does. I understand that, but I need to learn about the risks. The risks are minimal. You're young and healthy, you'll be fine. Liver donation is major surgery. I could have complications, long-term health effects. You're being dramatic. People donate parts of their liver all the time. You'll recover in a few weeks and everything will be normal. That wasn't true. Living liver donation has real risks. Bleeding, infection, bile leakage, blood clots, even death in rare cases. Recovery takes 3 to 6 months. Some donors have lifelong complications. I researched extensively. I wasn't opposed to donation, but I needed to make an informed decision. My parents interpreted my research as hesitation. They escalated. They told extended family I was refusing to help Ashley. They organized a family meeting where 20 relatives called me selfish. They sent me articles about sibling donors with the subject line, "This is what real sisters do." My aunt cried and asked how I could live with myself if Ashley died. My uncle said I was choosing my own comfort over Ashley's life. My grandmother said she was disappointed in me. The pressure was unbearable. Then I had my consultation with Dr. Sarah Chen, the transplant coordinator. She explained the full procedure, risks, and recovery. She also explained something crucial. Living organ donation must be completely voluntary. No one can pressure you. If you feel coerced in any way, you have the right to decline. We have a confidential advocate program where you can say no, and we'll tell your family you're not medically eligible." "Why would you do that?" "Because coerced donations have worse outcomes. Donors who feel pressured are more likely to have complications, regret the decision, and experience psychological harm. We only proceed with donors who are making a free, informed choice." I admitted I felt pressured. My parents were calling me selfish. My family was treating me like a villain. Dr. Chen made notes. "Have your parents been tested as potential donors?" "They said they're too old and have health conditions." "Do you know what conditions?" "They didn't specify." Dr. Chen looked concerned. "Let me review the family files." My parents came to the next appointment. They were pushy, demanding to know when the donation surgery would be scheduled. "We need to complete Emma's evaluation first," Dr. Chen said calmly. "And we need to confirm that all other potential donors have been properly screened." "Emma's the donor," Dad said. "What other screening?" "Standard protocol requires evaluating all potential living donors, including parents and siblings. Have you been tested?" "We told you we have health conditions." "What conditions specifically?" My parents looked uncomfortable. Mom said, "I have high blood pressure." "What's your blood pressure reading?" "I don't remember exactly, but it's high." "High blood pressure doesn't automatically disqualify donors. We'd need to evaluate. Have you actually been tested and ruled out, or are you assuming you can't donate?" Silence. "Mr. Rodriguez, what about you?" Dad shifted in his seat. "I have liver issues of my own, fatty liver disease." "Have you been evaluated by our transplant team?" "No, but my regular doctor said." "Your regular doctor isn't a transplant specialist. Mild fatty liver disease doesn't necessarily disqualify donation. We'd need to test your liver function." More silence. Dr. Chen pulled up her computer. "According to our records, neither of you has ever submitted the preliminary screening questionnaire. You haven't filled out the basic forms to be evaluated as potential donors. Is that correct?" My parents looked at each other. "We didn't think we'd qualify." "But you haven't tried. You're pressuring your younger daughter to undergo major surgery while never even attempting to donate yourselves." "We're her parents. We're too old." "You're 58 and 56. Both within the acceptable age range. If you have medical conditions that truly disqualify you, fine. But you haven't been evaluated. How can you call Emma selfish for hesitating when you haven't even filled out a form?" I stared at my parents. They'd been calling me selfish for weeks, organizing family interventions, telling everyone I was letting Ashley die, and they'd never even tried to be donors themselves. Dr. Chen continued. "I also see that Ashley has a half-brother, Michael Rodriguez, age 34. Has he been tested?" "He's not involved with our family," Dad said quickly. "Have you asked him? He's Ashley's biological sibling. He could be a good match." "We haven't spoken to Michael in years, so you haven't even asked your son if he'd consider being tested. But you're calling your daughter selfish for needing time to make an informed decision about major surgery." The room was tense. My parents had no good answer. Dr. Chen scheduled them both for screening evaluations. She also suggested they contact Michael. Over the next 2 weeks, the truth came out. My mother's high blood pressure was 135/85. Borderline high, easily managed, not disqualifying. She was medically eligible to donate. My father's fatty liver disease was mild, and his liver function was good enough for donation. He was medically eligible. Neither had actual medical conditions preventing donation. They'd just assumed they couldn't donate, never got tested, and focused all pressure on me. Michael, the half-brother they hadn't spoken to in years, responded immediately when contacted. He got tested. He was also a compatible match. So Ashley had 3 potential living donors: Mom, eligible; Dad, eligible; Michael, eligible; and me, eligible. My parents had only pursued me. Dr. Chen called a family meeting. Present: me, my parents, Ashley, Michael, who flew in, and Dr. Chen with the hospital ethics advisor, Dr. Patricia Williams. We've completed medical evaluations for all potential living donors, Dr. Chen began. Mrs. Rodriguez, Mr. Rodriguez, and Michael Rodriguez are all medically eligible to donate. Emma Rodriguez is also medically eligible. Ashley looked shocked. Mom and Dad can donate? I thought you couldn't. We were evaluated and cleared, Dr. Chen said. They never pursued testing before now. Ashley turned to our parents. You told me you couldn't donate. You said Emma was the only option. We thought we couldn't, Mom started. You didn't think, Dr. Patricia interrupted. You didn't get tested. You pressured your younger daughter while never attempting donation yourselves. That's not medical reasoning. That's selective pressure. She pulled out a folder. I've also reviewed the communications Emma reported. Family interventions where 20 people pressured her. Messages calling her selfish. Emotional manipulation suggesting she'd be responsible if Ashley died. This is textbook coercion. We were trying to save Ashley's life, Dad protested. By pressuring one family member while exempting yourselves, living organ donation must be voluntary. What you did violates ethical standards for transplant programs. Michael spoke up. I just met my half-sister a week ago after Dad ignored me for 15 years. I'm willing to donate if I'm the best match. Why wasn't I contacted 2 years ago when Ashley got sick? Dad had no answer. Ashley was crying. I didn't know. I thought Mom and Dad couldn't donate. I thought Emma was my only chance. I never wanted her to feel forced. But you participated in the family intervention, I said quietly. Because Mom said you were refusing. She said you didn't care if I died. I wouldn't have agreed to that if I'd known Mom and Dad never even tried to donate. Dr. Patricia laid out the options. Ashley has 4 potential living donors. The Ethics Committee recommends Emma be removed from consideration due to the coercive environment. Mrs. Rodriguez, Mr. Rodriguez, and Michael remain eligible. You can't remove Emma, Dad stood up. She's the best match. She's a match, Dr. Chen corrected. All 4 are compatible. And Emma has the right to decline without being called selfish by parents who never even got tested. I spoke for the first time. I'm withdrawing as a potential donor, not because I don't love Ashley, but because I've been pressured, manipulated, and called selfish by parents who never made the same sacrifice they demanded from me. I can't make this decision freely in this environment. Ashley nodded, tears streaming. I understand. I'm so sorry, Emma. I didn't know. Dr. Patricia continued. The Hospital Ethics Committee is also placing a note in the family file about the coercive behavior. Future transplant programs will be informed if the family pursues other donors. My parents were furious. They accused the hospital of interfering with family decisions and letting Ashley die. But Ashley had 3 other donors. The medical team evaluated all 3 and determined my mother was the best match. Best blood type compatibility, ideal liver size, excellent health markers. Mrs. Rodriguez, you're the optimal donor for your daughter, Dr. Chen said. Will you donate? My mother looked terrified. I didn't think I'd actually have to. The room went silent. You called Emma selfish for hesitating, Michael said. You're the best match and you're saying you didn't think you'd have to donate? It's major surgery. I could have complications. The same complications you dismissed when pressuring Emma, Dr. Patricia said coldly. Ashley looked at our mother with something like heartbreak. You were willing to pressure Emma into surgery you're afraid to have yourself? It's different. I'm older. I have more health risks. You were medically cleared. Your risks are essentially the same as Emma's were. My father tried to deflect. What about Michael? He's young, healthy. I'm willing, Michael said. But I just learned I had a sister 2 weeks ago. If her own mother won't donate, why should the son you abandoned step up? Dad had no answer. In the end, my mother did donate. Not willingly, she was shamed into it by Ashley refusing to accept a donation from Michael while Mom was an eligible donor who'd pressured me. The surgery went fine. Both recovered well. Ashley got her new liver, but the family relationships were destroyed. Ashley and I rebuilt our relationship. She was genuinely horrified when she learned the full extent of the pressure campaign and that our parents had never been tested. "They told me you were refusing to save my life," she told me months later. "They said you were selfish and cruel. I believed them because I was terrified of dying. I'm so sorry. You didn't know they'd never tried to donate themselves. I should have asked. I should have questioned why they were so focused on you." Ashley and I are close now. She moved out of our parents' house and lives independently. She's healthy, her transplant was successful, and we talk weekly. My relationship with my parents is over. They still insist they did what they had to do to save Ashley. They can't admit they pressured me for surgery they were afraid to have themselves. Michael and I have formed a relationship. He's a good person who got a raw deal from our father. We're getting to know each other, and Ashley adores her newfound brother. Here's what I learned. Some parents will pressure you to make sacrifices they're unwilling to make themselves. They'll call you selfish while never examining their own fear or selfishness. My parents were medically eligible donors. They chose not to get tested. They pressured me instead because they didn't want to undergo surgery themselves. Then they called me selfish for hesitating to do what they were too afraid to do. The medical team caught it because ethical transplant programs screen for coercion. Dr. Chen protected me when I couldn't protect myself. If you're ever pressured to donate organs, undergo medical procedures, or make major bodily sacrifices for family, ask yourself, have the people pressuring me offered to do the same? Or are they volunteering my body while protecting their own? You have the right to say no. You have the right to take time to decide. You have the right to decline without being called selfish. Your body is yours. Even when someone you love needs an organ, even when family pressures you, even when they call you heartless. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you, but I understand if this is too personal. Have you faced pressure to undergo medical procedures for family? How did you handle it? Drop your thoughts if you want, but I understand this is sensitive. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And remember, saying no to organ donation doesn't make you selfish. Pressuring someone to donate while refusing to be tested yourself? That's selfish. I'm Emma Rodriguez. I'm 30 years old. My parents called me selfish for hesitating to donate my liver to my sister. Medical records showed they'd never even been tested as potential donors themselves. They were medically eligible but too afraid to donate, so they pressured me instead. The transplant coordinator protected me from their coercion. My mother was forced to confront her own fear and donate instead. Ashley got her liver. I got my bodily autonomy. My parents got exposed as hypocrites. Your body belongs to you, even when people you love need organs, even when family calls you selfish. Protect yourself. Trust medical ethics professionals, and never let anyone shame you for declining a sacrifice they're unwilling to make themselves.